Hi class, it's Professor Anderson, and this is our last Zoom session of the quarter. This will be a final exam review. I'll go over a lot of stuff that you will definitely see on the final exam. If you have any questions after watching the recording, go ahead and email me and I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right, let me pull up my notes about the final exam. Okay, so the final exam has 20 multiple choice questions and then 2 essay questions. And there are 2 different versions of the exam. So if you know someone else in the class, you'll probably get different versions. And also you can use your book and your notes and any of the materials we have in class you can use during the exam. And I know with an online class, it's a little more difficult than a lecture class knowing what is important to study. So just review all of the readings, make sure you did read all of the stories and plays each week, and pay close attention to any topics that were mentioned in the discussion forums or the skill building activities or the quizzes. Make sure you know all of the topics that were covered in there because those are probably the most important for the class. And if I mention something here in this recording, make sure you study it. I wouldn't mention anything during the final exam review that won't be on the final exam. I wouldn't waste your time like that. So if I mention it here, you definitely need to know it. So make sure you study it. Okay, let us start here. Make sure you know before the final exam, basically just the basic biographic information for all of the authors that we read. You should know what time period they were around in, whether they were well known and well received while they were alive, what their work is notable for, and also just kind of the geographic location of where they lived. Make sure you know the different categories of characters. We spent a lot of time on characterization this quarter. So make sure you know what makes a dynamic character, what makes a round character, direct characterization, and things like that. You will see stuff about poems on the final exam. So make sure you're familiar with the different aspects of poems that we learned about. You should know about rhyme scheme, meter, like which meter did Shakespeare use, things like that. What is a couplet, blank verse, caesura, diction, simile, all of those little aspects of poems that we just learned about the past couple weeks. You should know basic MLA formatting and citing rules. You won't have to, make an entire works cited page by yourself or anything, but no in-text citations, what they need to include, just the basic MLA format stuff. And there will also be stuff about drama and what we learned about plays. So make sure you review dramatic irony, breaking the fourth wall, just the stuff about from the play week that we had. You'll want to know consonants and alliteration, theme, rhyme, onomatopoeia, diction, I might have already said diction, and imagery, style, and tone, and how to apply those to the stories, poems, and plays that we read. All of those literary elements are things you're going to be seeing again on the final exam. You'll want to know the different perspectives that poems and stories have been written in this quarter. So for example, that's, third person omniscient, third person limited, first person. You'll want to know the difference between all of those and be able to identify them in the text that we have read this quarter. Of course, you will be seeing literary theories again. We have been going over literary theories basically this whole time. It's probably the biggest part of the course, in my opinion. So make sure you don't have to know every single one that's listed there, as long as you know the biographical, feminist, Marxist, formalist, and historical. Those are the ones that will get you through the exam. You should know basically the gist of what they are, and then also how to apply them to the things that we've read this quarter. Let's see, other literary elements that we've gone over this quarter will be important, like foreshadowing and irony, I think I said irony, allegory. Make sure you know and can identify all of those things. And that will get you through the multiple choice part of the final exam. For the essay questions, you'll make sure you have read the poems that were assigned, be able to talk about what they focused on, and also explicating the discussion forum where you explicated the poetry. Be sure that you can, do that and you're familiar with what needs to be included in that. And you will be given some freedom on your topic for the essay questions. It's not going to be super specific, like you have to write about this in this story. You'll have a little creative freedom on what you want to write about. There'll just be some basic guidelines. So for those, make sure you know the literary theory so you can include those in them. Explicating poetry, like I said before, you'll want to be able to do that for the essay questions. And just make sure you have the poems there to reference, the stories to reference also. Make sure you have access to all of your materials before starting the exam. And go ahead and go over what is in excused a valid makeup and not a valid makeup, because for the final exam, unless there's a valid documented excuse, you can't make that up after the time, which is why I suggest taking the exam as early as you can. That way you can be done with the course and kind of can move on with your lives. So I recommend taking it early. I think that's a good idea. If you have any questions after watching the recording as you study, go ahead and send those over. But yeah, that's just the basics of the final exam. It's pretty straightforward. It's all stuff that you can find in the materials we've read for the course. So good luck. All right, any questions? I don't think anyone has joined. Nope, no one's joined. So you'll all be watching this as a recording. So like I said, if you hear something in this recording that you don't understand, be sure to reach out. All right, thanks guys, bye.